All right, everyone. Our first official guest on the Hockey Girls podcast. Here is Erin Logan of Heritage Sticks Company and Logan Sports Group. Goodness gracious.
Girl, you and your names.
I know.
Every time.
I really struggle with pronunciations.
It started with humor. Anyways, welcome.
Thank you so much for joining us and being part of the podcast and letting us, ask you a bunch of questions. We're so excited to have you.
Well, I appreciate you two having me on, and I'm honored to be your your first guest.
Number one guest.
Automatically.
By the end of the podcast, it'll be the number one, but right now, just the first.
Yes. Awesome. So tell us a little bit about Heritage Stick Company. So if I am correct, you started in 2005?
Correct. Yeah. So in the fall of 2004, my first son comes into the world. I'm working in the golf business, and an opportunity comes up to buy a hockey stick factory out of bankruptcy. And I had a background in broadcasting, and I thought, you know what, this might be a cool way I can use my sales skills, my marketing skills, and I could maybe get in there and who knows what we can do. Well, I had no idea. I had no idea how to manufacture. I had no idea how to change saw blades or sanding machines, how to paint, nothing. I was just pretty good at the gift of the gab, but I was not the most handy man. Good thing they say if women don't find you handy, at least they might find you handsome. But no, it was a fun time. We jumped in and we started this, and I had an idea to take the hockey stick business, instead of being a hockey stick for on ice play, I wanted to make it into a souvenir hockey stick. Taking my background from golf, I knew that there was a lot of golf events with hockey players. And in those golf events, they always were looking for gifting. So we started making hockey sticks to go at all these, charity golf tournaments, 144 at a time. And the players would autograph them and all the fans would take them home at the end of the event. Instead of a golf shirt that would hang in a closet and never be worn again, now the sticks are going in sports rooms, bars, wherever it might be. And the charity's branding gets used. Everything kind of, lasts a little bit longer. We get to the following season, and that's where all of a sudden, teams are saying, hey, this is a good idea. We want to try it. Because back then you'd have teams that were buying hockey jerseys at $80, $85 and giving those away to the community for donation items. And you think about it, you could buy a hockey stick for $15 and you could get 6 more sticks for coverage of 6 more, charities in your area. So it really gave them a low cost, high perceived value item. And that really took off, so 2005, 6, 7, we're doing okay. We're making sticks. We're really making inroads. And then in 2007, the 2007-08 season, the Anaheim Ducks, who had bought a few sticks, they said to me, why don't we use these sticks to give away at the end of a hockey game? The player will come off the 3 stars of the game. We could go back out. So we created this program, the 3 stars of the game signature stick. And we put sponsor logos on it, and the players would autograph them and toss them into the crowd. Well, right off the bat, Scott Niedermayer, the Hall of Fame defenseman with the Anaheim Ducks, one of the first games that we ever do this, he goes and finds this little kid near the glass, goes to reach over to give him the stick, and a drunk guy behind grabs the stick, and a brawl happens in the stands. It just was. I was watching the highlights, and I was like, "Oh, this program's over."
Right.
But it really took off from there, and then we've just been so fortunate that we've had really good product. We've had I've always had an awareness of what teams need, and I'm very keen to what they need and what they want. And I work really closely with every team to kind of make sure that they have that. So if it's not just community donations, it's also the 3 stars of the game. It's retention gifting for season ticket holders. It could be auction items, raffle items, retail, a little bit of everything that they can use these sticks for. And it's not necessarily a product that just costs them something. It can make them some money too. So or cover the cost of having these programs.
That's so awesome.
That's so interesting. I didn't realize that it had all started, the 3 stars of the game started with Anaheim.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I did not know that.
Because we've seen them a bunch at Vegas games.
Oh yeah, all the
they
time.
just did it. They do it literally like every game, every home game team now. And so like when I was at the Devils game this past week, I was leaving to go back to the train, and the girl next to me had got I think it was Jack Hughes, like his Star of the Game stick, and it was like signed, and I was like trying to look at it, and I was like, wait a minute.
You're like, where's the branding?
I was like,
You're
I think I know what that is. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because, you know, whenever you do something good, everybody else wants to try to follow, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
there has been others that have, you know, tried to knock it off, and they want a little piece of the pie. But luckily for me, around the NHL, the teams still majority wise are still using our product, and it's great. I mean, it's fun to be at an arena. Think about it as a fan. You know, you sit there, you're engaged in the game. You just saw your home team win, and now you're standing on the glass, and a skater is coming right towards you and hands you something from the game that's autographed, and you really take home that memento.
Mhm.
Well, that didn't happen before. The game ended, out the doors. Everybody
Yeah.
go home.
Yep.
Now that part of entertainment of the game is keeping people longer, keeping them engaged longer, making for more social media kind of content. And if you look at most teams' social media, they post those. You know, the Maple Leafs the other night on their reverse retro night with their Justin Bieber inspired
Oh, yeah.
jersey. You know, it was the first time this year that they've used the sticks because of, you know, the empty arenas and
Yeah.
COVID protocols. They hadn't been doing it. So it was nice to see them come out, and Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner both came out wearing the jersey reversed into the Bieber design and then handing out our sticks. So I still get a kick out of it. I mean, I love it seeing a product that you have a passion for make it into the hands of fans. And you know, over the years, I always will be walking out of the arena, same thing as you, and I'll see somebody that got a stick, and I'll stop them and be like, "Hey, like that's really cool that you got it." Yeah, and just hearing a kid or a family talk about how they got the stick or what it's going to mean to them. Hey, it's the only game that we've been able to get to in a couple of years. You know, it's expensive, but now we've got this keepsake. We're going to have to come back, you know, next week.
Yeah. It's so awesome. I gotta ask too, because you started with the 3 stars of the game. How did you get from those sticks and like going to every team to the silver milestones, like the gold ones, all that kind of stuff?
So the legendary Jim Gregory, who was an NHL executive and you know, general manager and around for the longest time, and he recently passed. We were at a game in Minnesota one night, and we were chatting, and I knew that he had a real involvement in helping celebrate all the 1,000 game guys. And the NHL would always give out a crystal, Tiffany crystal. And some teams would do a silver stick, but it wasn't very popular, and you know, not every team really did it.
Okay.
So he said to me, "Well, you're a stick guy. Make me a silver stick." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
That's simple.
Yeah, but
let me get on that.
so you know what? Through a few friends of mine at the Hockey Hall of Fame, I reached out to them and I said, "So what do you have in the archives about these silver sticks?" And I learned a little bit about it. And I just started finding a local supplier who could fabricate it and kind of help me with it, because again, more of a sales guy in marketing, not a real hands-on guy. But you know what? I've got the best partner in the world. That, you know, Sheldon Barrett and Barrett Precision. He is the best, and we work so closely on creating new ideas. The microphone that you've probably seen, we've got a few of those. We've actually got one coming in another week. Yeah, there's going to be a really big ceremony coming up. So we've got that. We've done that in Major League Baseball. We've done it in soccer. We've done it in the NBA for these retiring announcers. And then we also do little pucks, and the Vegas Golden Knights have been such a great team. George McPhee reaches out all the time. Hey, I got a referee, you know, 1,000 games, or we have so many unique things that go through the Vegas Golden Knights that way. A neat story for you about Vegas. So the silver stick, and I'll get back to this. The silver stick is the color that we use for 1,000. That's been traditional. When Vegas became a team, George McPhee had bought sticks in the past in Washington, but he decided that since he has a brand new team with no tradition yet, any stick given out in Vegas will always be a gold stick. So when Marc-Andre Fleury got a stick a couple years ago, I know you guys love the flower.
We miss him so much.
So he got a gold stick, and when we have a few more that are going to be coming up, they will only be gold sticks, even for 1,000 games.
That's kind of awesome.
Wow.
It is because they were able to create their own history from the very beginning by, you know, this milestone will only be a gold product.
Oh
So
my
there's no silver that goes to Vegas, where other teams, they understand and they'll go, silver for 1,000 games.
Yeah.
They'll do gold for 500 goals, gold for 1,000 points. And then depending on team records, because, every team's got a team record too,
Right.
they'll decide on, it's our captain, it's our longtime future Hall of Famer. Let's do a gold stick. Or, nope, we're going to stick with silver. So it's really up to the teams a lot, but for 1,000 games, traditionally it's all silver.
Silver.
That's so cool.
I love that.
Yeah.
So
I love that Vegas literally will never get
Yeah.
a silver one.
Vegas
That makes
is
me,
like,
that makes me feel so cool.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, oh, you guys have silver? Oh,
Vegas
great.
is
Well,
like-
we only have gold.
gold only.
So-
Extra.
there's been 367 players in the history of the game reach that milestone. And you think about it, on any given year, there's over 700, close to 800 players will make a roster spot in the NHL. So in 105 years, only 367 have ever hit that milestone. Now, we are seeing a greater number every year because,
Yeah.
guys want to maybe play a little longer. They're in better shape. They're higher skilled, whatever it might be. Injuries, they're able to recover from injuries better than 25 years ago when, knee injury would end your career.
Yeah.
So we are seeing probably, 10 years ago, it was 5 to 7 players a year. Now you're starting to see that 15 to 20 players a year. And this year's been a really big year. We've had a lot of
Yeah, we
milestones.
were saying that too. Like,
Yeah, we
we've
noticed
seen
that. Like, it just
once
seemed
a
like
week,
a lot.
just all the time. And we're like,
were
this,
happening.
we're like, when did this all like actually start?
Yeah.
It came out of nowhere.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah, no, it
Yeah.
definitely this year was the biggest year we've had. Teams have really embraced the idea of creating these on ice presentations as well, because it's also the first time they've had their fans back for a few years, and they get to celebrate with their fans, with their star players, and the longevity and the everything. The kids, the mini sticks for the kids. That's a really cool touch. We've only been doing for 2 years.
I think that's probably our favorite.
That's my
aspect.
favorite for sure. I'm not
It's
gonna
the
lie to you.
Sweetest thing.
We saw the video of like Claude Giroux's kid with the little
Yeah.
stick, and he was like trying to like flex it.
It
And
was
I was
so
like,
cute.
oh my God.
I think that's like the
Cutest kid
sweetest
ever.
aspect.
Yeah, there's actually a really good picture of Mark Giordano's daughter. She's doing the same thing. She's like in a
Really?
face-off position, staring right at the camera. So like the photo, the
I love
family
it.
photo is really good. And then again, even Wayne Simmons in Toronto recently, his wife said to me after the presentation, she said, "I'm really happy that we got the mini sticks." She goes, "I asked Wayne if that was happening. He had no idea." And she
Aw.
goes, "I'm so happy, even though like they're so small still, that
Yeah.
they'll have that memory of their dad's milestone." That's something that
Forever,
they can
literally
get
forever.
That is so sweet. I really think that's like our favorite
Oh
part.
my God. And what's funny is because the NHL on their socials, they'll go out of their way, like they'll post the entirety of it. That's great. They'll go out of their way to show the kids messing with the sticks. And I'm like,
It's just so
it's
cute.
my favorite thing.
Yeah. So like Paul Stastny in Winnipeg, Blake Wheeler in Winnipeg, when their kids got it, it was like a big deal. Like those
Oh.
kids, they were like running around the dressing room after with the silver sticks, where the player, like a player's a creature of habit. And after 1,000 games, they've done this so much and they just want to be part of the team. They don't like being singled out.
Yeah.
No player does. I mean, they like traveling as a group.
Mhm.
And to have those nights can be sometimes embarrassing for the player, but for a child, they're looking at it like, oh my God, like I get to be kind of a little celebrity tonight, or
Yeah,
this is special for me, because they idolize their parents. They idolize their hockey playing dad, or just their dad or their mom, right? So it's a great little item to have now that more and more teams are saying, yes, we definitely want that for our players.
I
I
think it's
love
amazing.
that. I think that's so amazing. Oh my goodness. So it's obviously like really incredible being a part of these milestones. What have been some of your like favorite moments that you've been able to like kind of look back on? I know that's asking a lot because it's
Yeah.
been since like 2005, but
This season, past seasons,
yeah, like
all of
any
it.
any big moment that you can remember of just like, oh man, like I love looking back on that moment. Like that was
Mhm.
great to be a part of.
Yeah, this game has given me everything, and I love the game of hockey to no end. It's all I've ever wanted to do in my life, and take me back to a little boy. I read hockey books. I read the back of hockey cards. That's all I did. Teachers would say, "Well, Aaron doesn't read enough." My mom would be like, "He reads hockey cards all day long."
Yeah.
It's all about reading and consuming and understanding. And for me, I'd read stats books, but then I didn't understand how the numbers work, so I'd figure it out how do you get a goals against average? How do you get shooting percentage? So I was doing math, which I didn't understand, but I was doing it because I wanted to figure it out, right?
Yeah.
So for me, there's a couple things. Seeing probably the first team use the wood sticks and start to see some images of it coming back, like that's an NHL team, the highest of the caliber in the world, using something that I created. So that was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
In 2015 and 2017 and in 2022, I worked the World Junior Championships, and I worked more of a team services side. So I was behind the scenes helping all the teams, but I had an opportunity to have my oldest son, he got to skate out with the Canada flag to lead out Team Canada at Air Canada Centre in Toronto in front of 17,000 people, and then stand on the red line as they played Denmark. That was pretty cool. Like that, like I was able to kind of be out and be on the Denmark bench and watch. And there's Connor McDavid. There's, Max Domi, everybody behind him. And I'm like, wow, goosebumps. Like just to be able to share it. And, throughout the years, both my boys, their hockey teams have got to go to morning skate and meet Leaf players and go to, World Cup of Hockey and get to see trophies and just little things that I've always felt like it's important to share that.
Yeah.
Those are cool. But being in an arena when they give out the silver sticks is a really unique thing, because usually the teams are in such a good mood to have you close to the team that you get to meet the players, and that's still nice. It's nice to shake their hand and say congratulations.
Definitely.
Yeah.
The best part is they always make comments about the weight of the stick, like post ceremony, because they weigh 22 pounds of stainless steel.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I didn't
So
know
they're heavy. And there's been players like Sidney Crosby, when he got his 1,000th point stick, it was a gold stick we made. Myself and two of my buddies, we drove down to Pittsburgh and gave it to the Penguins. They presented it, and the PR guy said, well, if you want to meet Sid after the game, he'd like to meet you. And I was like, yeah, of course.
I would freak out.
Say no
I'll
to
be
that?
honest, I would freak out.
Who would say no to that? Sid would love to meet you. What? Yeah.
I tell this story often because, Sydney is a quiet professional, and he wants to be the best at all times. That's his goal. It's been his goal his whole life.
Yeah.
After that game, we waited for about 45 minutes and we thought, okay, this isn't going to happen. Like the rest of the team's already gone. He's not coming out. He might have went out a back door, might have forgotten. Oh, well. All of a sudden he comes out, shakes our hand. We spent 30 minutes and none of the three of us got a question out. He asked us directed questions about each one of us, our families, where we're from. And then he wanted to know every stat possible on the gold stick. How many other people have got it? Who got it? Hey, how's it made? Because I noticed my blade pattern is exactly how the stick is. Just all these things. And he's like, I really will cherish this. Like, it means a lot to me. And we walked out of the arena with him. And I just was like, we talked about it for a 6-hour drive home going, wow, there's a guy that really gets it.
Yeah.
And his post-game routine was, well, I'm going to go home and watch, last night's game of the team we're playing tomorrow. I'm going to watch some highlights of other games tonight. I'm going to ride the bike for another hour. I'll go to sleep at midnight. I'm going to get up and do a workout before morning skate. Like, it was like,
he's like on all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Like crazy impressive too.
So those are the little conversations that you get to see and be part of that, the average fan doesn't see. I remember we did Scott Hartnell's silver stick down in Columbus, a fan favorite, a great guy. And being in the hallway with him after the game, there was 2 other players that were standing there that had got silver sticks years prior. So they all started out, and all 4 of us were just in a silver stick conversation.
Oh my God.
It was really, just a fun thing to be in, because now they're in a club.
Yeah, they're in a little posse.
Yeah. So that was, really cool. Even when I was in Seattle 2 weeks ago, Brian Elliott, backup goalie for the Tampa Bay Lightning. He's from the town where I live, Newmarket, or I live in East Gwillimbury, but Newmarket's right connected. He's been a long time goalie in the NHL, and I had made a stick for him last year for 500 games when he was with Philadelphia, but I'd never talked to him about it. I didn't go to the presentation because of COVID and I hadn't seen him around. So I just kind of grabbed him, chatted about it, and he goes, you have to understand, in my new house, I'm building like a lit showcase above my bar for that stick. He goes, that means a lot.
Oh
So
my gosh.
the stick means a lot, not necessarily because of the weight or anything like that. It's the recognition that they've played that long in the game.
Yeah.
And any milestone that a player reaches, 50 games, the first game, 100 games, whatever it is, it's so important to look at it like, yeah, there's a lot of guys that 367 have got to 1,000. All those guys that didn't, and they were chasing their dream, and whatever happened along the road didn't happen out the way they maybe expected, or they did, maybe they got the dream of playing a game.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So you mentioned a little bit that I think it's so interesting that they'll ask you questions about the stick. Like they want to know about like the weight and all of that. And I think I read an article once that said like you make them to look like their actual sticks. Is
I
that
was gonna
true?
ask, yeah.
Yeah. So great question. So what happens is, and I know this is it's giving away a little bit of the magic here. So what we do is I'll reach out to teams throughout the year, and I'll be like, here's a list of things that potentially could be a milestone to you. And I'll reach out to either the PR people or assistant GMs, things like that, and just say, hey, this is some items that we do, and these are some milestones that you have coming up. Do you want to celebrate this way? And sometimes they'll be like, yes, 100%. They'll have other gifts like paintings or etched wine glass bottles or whatever it might be. Golf trips, things like that, right? So I'll start that process probably in June of every year, and I'll reach out and I'll send out kind of a league-wide, everybody gets them. Hey, these are all things to look at. And some of them reply back, Aaron, like, that's not going to happen until March next year. Why are you sending this in June? It's to get it on the radar and to start the process, because even for us in the last month and a half, it's been crazy. We can react to things very quickly, but the teams will send us a stick. They'll send us one of the players' actual sticks. Our fabricator will fabricate that blade to be the exact pattern, lie, everything. So when that stick comes out of our shop, polished and ready to go, you can put it up beside their game stick and it's perfectly the same.
That's so cool. No wonder that they want to ask you about that, because
so like
crazy.
The toe shape, the heel, any of the curves, it's all exactly the same as the player has. And that's, after 1,000 games, the players know their equipment better than anything. And they know their sticks. That's been something that's their tool, their trade. They know their skates, their gloves, their helmets, whatever it might be. So when they first get that stick and they look, they go, hey, that's mine.
Yeah.
So there's no two sticks that have ever been given out the exact same.
That are the same.
Wow. None.
That is so cool.
Yeah, that makes it that much better for them too, because it's not just like a generic, like, oh, cool, I get a silver hockey stick. Great. It's like
got your name on it.
That's actually what I play with. That's got to be such a great feeling.
That's what I play with that every single night.
I want to like look at one like and compare it
in comparison,
like up close and be like, is it?
You're like,
I want to like get in
take
there.
a little magnifying glass,
right?
Like, okay, where?
That'd be so awesome.
Some couple of little funny stories about over the years. We've had some snafus, like we've had some things go wrong. I mean, we've had snowstorms where FedEx didn't deliver the stick.
I just read that and I was looking up. I read that in an article.
I didn't read. Come on, man.
I was gonna write it down because I wanted to ask about that.
So this year we had it twice.
You had to give someone else's stick, like someone else had their stick with them, right?
Luckily, like so Ryan Getzlaff hit 1,000 points,
right?
And his stick was done. We shipped it, and FedEx took 5 days to get what should have been an overnight. And the ceremony's coming, it's pending, it's and I just said, well, you know what? Teemu Selanne also had one of those. Maybe, and he's still around the team a lot and lives close by. And I said, maybe get him to bring his for the ceremony. So one of the pictures is like this.
You can still have the visual
holding his, he's holding his hand right over the blade so you can't read.
Oh my God.
Wow.
And I mean, for me, it's embarrassing. It's gut wrenching to think that this, but it's also out of our hands.
It's hard because it's out of your hands.
We are dealing with such tight timelines. Usually if a player hits the milestone, let's say on a Sunday night, and their next home game's on Wednesday, they want that stick for that Wednesday. Well, we can't engrave anything and then polish until the milestone's hit. So, we run into those tight timelines.
So So you
That's
say,
so
so
crazy
you've
to
got the
me.
list in like June and you send that out, but you don't really get notice until like a couple days.
No.
before.
Like we'll be told, hey, yeah, you're gonna make it, and they've already sent us their stick, and we know we're gonna make it.
Gotcha.
Because
The
like a player
problem
will
is-
be on track, like for a number of games,
Exactly.
like, count ahead, obviously.
Exactly.
Like
Like
you take that out.
Travis Zajac a year ago was on track, and they said, hey, we want to present him his 1,000th game stick on the night he hits 1,000 games. And I'm like, ooh, how about we push it to the next game?
Yeah,
Because
give it one.
in COVID times, what was happening? Tons of players were going into
Yeah.
COVID protocol.
Yeah.
Well, this player
Oh shit.
gets sick the
No!
the night he's supposed to play it. He gets sick, or the day
my
before,
gosh.
and all of a sudden they've already got the stick in their hands, but it's now got the wrong date. It's got the wrong team. It's wrong. So we had to wait another 14 days, and then we re-engraved it, and we sent a new one. They did the ceremony, and it was all fine. Or we've had players, in the last 2 weeks, in Seattle,
Mhm.
Mark Giordano, they were talking, that he was going to be traded, and Claude Giroux as well,
God,
that he might be traded.
those
And I flew
going.
out to Seattle with the stick, and the morning of, they're like, he's not going to play tonight. He's going to dress for the ceremony, but he will not play another game. And I'm like, oh my, like, what if?
Dang.
So the business of hockey always takes
Yeah.
precedence. It's whatever's best for the teams.
Wow.
I will say
Jeez.
trade deadlines probably have to stress you out so
Yeah, I was like, is
bad.
that stressful?
I would say this year was the worst.
Yeah.
We've never really seen it like this, where we had, because they were going to hit their 1,000th game on like the second last day before trade deadline.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
that was really interesting for us.
Claude's came really close.
it was right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was his last game as a Flyer.
Oh. I
So
would
they,
I would actually freak.
I would have been sweating.
yeah, no,
You see me right now reacting to it, and I didn't even do anything. Like,
yeah. So they I believe that they had talked to Claude and said, what do you want to do? And I think he said, I want to be captain for 1,000 games. And I don't want to leave until, that's a big milestone to leave at 999.
Yeah.
oh my God, I'd be pissed
I'd be
for
like-
eternity.
Yeah.
Never let it go.
Yeah.
Ever.
So yeah, this year's been a great year. We've had everything from team milestones to individual, 1,000 games, 1,000 points,
Mhm.
all kinds of things.
Yeah.
And then even we do get the corporate side too. Like, a team signs a new corporate deal and they're like, hey, we want a silver stick. I'm like, okay, but no curve. So,
Yeah,
so it's not exactly like a
That's
player.
funny.
And one really cool thing, and say what you like about politics, we've made sticks for the last 2 presidents. So Donald Trump got a stick from the Washington
No
Capitol
way.
on their visit to the White House. And then Joe Biden was supposed to get his in October, and he got sick, or he couldn't see the
Oh.
team.
Yeah.
And then now it's being delayed a little bit, but there's a stick waiting to be presented to Joe Biden as well.
How did I not know that?
I didn't know that
Yeah.
either.
Oh
Trump
my
has a
gosh.
hockey stick.
That's
Damn.
cool. That is so
Yeah.
cool.
That's gotta be like a really cool moment for you too, because it's not.
I
even,
think it's
like,
neat.
Canada,
I think it's neat because
America.
it's, no matter what it is, it's still world power, right? And
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think the office of the White House, no matter who's in there and what you believe about the individual,
Mhm.
it's still such a powerful, historic place to have your product.
Yeah.
And to know that, I don't have a photo with Donald holding it, and that kind of sucks, but he didn't hold anything that they gave him.
Yeah.
He sat at his desk and they took a picture around him. He didn't really do a lot with the team.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, just don't have that one.
Yeah.
Hopefully you'll get one
That's
with
cool, though.
with Biden.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I hope so.
That's so cool.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
again, I try to stay a little bit neutral on the politics side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If a Canadian team wins, I don't know what I'd want, but with our prime minister, it'd still be an honor to make a stick
Yeah.
for the
for sure.
leader of our country.
Yeah.
That's a huge deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any
Like, oh my God.
personal opinions aside, like that's so
Yeah.
really awesome.
Yeah.
Oh man. So you do sticks, and I think you mentioned as well that you do microphones. So take us through a little bit of like kind of the other items that you do. So like pucks,
Yeah.
I
So-
think, as well.
My fabricator can make anything. And
wow.
usually it's me contacting a team, and we get talking about different items, and they go, hey, what can you do? I've done a little soccer net with a ball for Toronto FC, which is, the MLS team here in Toronto. It was a gift for a marketing person. We've done just some really unique things in the Toronto Maple Leafs dressing room last year before the playoffs. We built this 8-foot wall that had 250 pucks all put into it, and it had a giant Maple Leaf logo, and just custom one-off things.
I'm like,
And it was all made out of stainless steel. Now,
yeah.
all one-off things, and it's all, what can you do that is unique and just for us? And that's
what's been like your favorite, most like unique thing that you guys have made so far?
cool. I think the microphones are cool.
Okay.
Doc Emmerich, because I went to school for broadcast journalism.
Yeah.
I always wanted to be that, broadcaster. We did one for Doc Emmerich that the Devils gave out on the ice, and he absolutely loved it. We did a couple for the Philadelphia Phillies. There's been a few microphones that have been really cool. And then again, this one that's coming up in another week and a bit is going to be a really big one.
Yeah.
Excited for that one.
Yeah. So what, I'm sure
so
there's
excited.
a lot coming up. Do you have anything that you can like kind of spoil, little teaser, little spoilers for us?
Well, I would say this, there's a number, there's still, and it's public record. Anybody can see who's up to 1,000 games. So we have all those guys coming up, but there's also a couple of little team records that will probably be more celebrated privately, not publicly. That those are more like pucks. We have some training staff that are up at 2,000 games, 2,500 games, that they're going to be receiving some items. The microphone that we have, the one anyways, and then we're starting to hear back a bit from some baseball teams. There's 4 baseball broadcasters that this will be their final year broadcasting after 35 years plus.
Wow.
So those are all.
Are the Dodgers in the mix?
So
I'm
going to tell you. So a couple years ago, I'm a huge baseball fan.
Me too.
And a couple years ago, I got it right to the final stages of doing a microphone for Vin Scully.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I was telling the Dodgers, I'll do this one for free. Like I need it.
Absolutely. It's been
like,
Scully.
I'll
How
pay
could you
you.
not? Literally,
Right? Like,
for Vince Scully, anything.
Whoa.
And you know what? At the end of the day, he was such a he actually kiboshed it, because he actually told the Dodgers he didn't want any expensive gifts, because that's the way he is.
Yeah.
He's just so humble, and he was like, my whole career is based on the listeners. It's not about me. And it's like, my God, you're perfect.
That's the sad thing, is you can't even be mad.
No, like, so that's what I believe why we didn't get it. And the ceremony, he didn't get anything, outlandish. We've been in the opportunity to work on some teams when they're retiring numbers and come up with some plans. We haven't gotten any of those yet, but I think that's something that I'm going to push for more in the future. Smaller plaques, unique awards to give them after maybe an MVP season, or all kinds of different things to celebrate. We're getting more and more comfortable going after teams outside of just the NHL.
That's awesome.
That's great. That's awesome. Oh my gosh.
COVID has made us do that. The pandemic really kind of made it go, you know what? It's time to make sure that when we come out of this, we're in a good position, not only to, continue on what we do, but bring new stuff, be innovative, create new product lines that, leagues and teams and foundations can use all over the place. One of those, if you don't mind, if I can show you something really cool.
Please do.
Anything.
So these.
I was going to mention those.
So these are.
Oh my God. I'm like sweating. That's awesome.
These are custom hockey gloves. These could be worn on the ice by any professional team. But what they've become, these were for the Pittsburgh Penguins Foundation, the Mario Lemieux Foundation. And they did a huge foundation auction that just ended last week. And they got rid of, they sold 66 pairs of these in a $5,000 donation category.
Oh my gosh.
That's insane.
So they did an amazing job for the Mario Lemieux Foundation and the Pittsburgh Penguins Foundation. And this is one of our newest products that teams, breweries, corporate partners, they're all looking at these as something new, as a high-end gifting item. You
Those are
know,
amazing.
yeah, they're a great item, and they're unique, and they can sit on a shelf or they can be put on the hands and used in a game. So it's really exciting for us with these moving forward into this summer and next fall.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong. You guys did the ones for
Crosby.
oh
Oh, we're not on the same page?
No.
Oh shit.
I was gonna say Biz Nasty.
We did, yeah, we did. So Biz is a great guy.
This
We
is how
did,
we are. I'm so sorry.
Normally I'm not on the Biz Nasty page. You are.
these kind of came out of that. You know, we had this idea almost a year ago, and we were trying to figure out how to market them.
Yeah.
I love the Spit and Chicklets podcast, as everyone does, right? It's great entertainment and great hosts and everything. So we did up some pairs for the 4 of them and sent them off and said, hey, like, use them, enjoy them. And Paul's been using them, and he messaged me the other day because the pair that he was using in Vegas at the ball hockey tournament, he took to Aspen, I guess, and he auctioned them off at some big event that he was at, and they went for crazy amount.
That's awesome.
And he sends me a note. He's like, I think we need more. Like, so, you know, they do their job, and not necessarily, you know, just to be able to play with and be functional that way, but they are great items to be autographed, to be, you know, really limited edition gloves.
Yeah.
So we're excited about it. This is gonna be big. This is our next big thing.
I love it.
I love that.
Until the next thing.
Yeah, you're like, until the next thing, this is it. This is what we're looking forward
Hey,
to.
it's working.
Yes.
Oh my
We're
God.
trying. We're trying.
Now that
We do a little bit of everything.
God, I'm dying. Okay, sorry.
We do a little bit of everything. Like, we do promotional products all over the board. So we do printed pucks, mini sticks, felt pennants, the gloves, the sticks, you know, whatever it might be that a team's looking for. They know now after 17 years that they can call, and we'll be able to source their item at the highest quality and have it in their hands when they need it.
That's so awesome.
So awesome. So how did things kind of, going back a little bit, because you mentioned the COVID pandemic a little bit, how did things kind of get affected, at least in terms of like heritage sticks and all of that? Due to the pandemic?
It was hell.
Yeah.
It was hell. I mean, it was hell for everybody. And we're fortunate that when I say it was hell, nobody in our group, nobody got sick. Nobody in our immediate families were sick. So, you know, at the end of the day, that's the number one thing. And that we looked after everybody around us, and we were able to make it through this and still, you know, be able to do what we love. From a business side of things, it was very difficult. I mean, we had nobody in the stands, so teams weren't spending the money that they normally would. They didn't have budgets because they didn't know when they'd be making money again and when they could, you know, start to promote stuff. So it was difficult, but, you know, we just stood still, and we kind of, you know, let them know that we're there, and when they were ready for us, we'd be ready to react. And that's, you know, heading back into September this year, it really kind of kicked back up, and or I should say July, August, we started getting the wood stick orders. We started getting the teams confirming that they'd be doing a lot of ceremonies, pucks, mini sticks. Like, one of the things that, you know, when you're able to do a lot of printing here in Canada, you're not dealing with this new problem with all the shipping delays and getting product from overseas. That's going to be a real major issue in the next 12 to 16 months from now.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're well situated now where we have a lot of product, and we're ready, you know, to supply what everybody needs. And then we've seen it now, even heading into the spring, it's been the busiest February, March, and bookings for April that I've had in 15 years.
Wow.
That's not normally a time when we would, you know, book a lot of stuff, a lot of sales. And this has been, you know, tenfold.
Crazy.
So teams are spending now.
Such relief, you know, like knowing that it's back and you're doing, I say, like, better. Like, that's got to be such a relief to know, like, all right, we're still in demand. This is good. I can still contribute.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, it's an unwillingness to ever do anything I don't want to do.
Yeah.
So I want this to work. And I know that at the end of the day, it will work, just because I won't give up on it.
Oh yeah. Damn.
That's a solid mindset.
So now that we're kind of in a little bit of this like post-pandemic, we're coming out of it, you know, obviously. Has there been anything that you've kind of had to readjust to now that, like you said, things are, this is kind of your busiest March, February, March, April season. Is there anything that you kind of had to readjust back and be like, okay?
Yeah, I think it's making sure that we have everything in order, product wise for when teams need stuff and reactionary times. So teams are needing things quicker than they ever have, but there's also a lot of shipping delays around the world and, other issues to get product to people that they're, maybe not ready for because they haven't had to do that before. So I take a little bit of that out of their hands and just say, I'll take care of that. And I'm pre-planning because I know what's coming. I know that, the playoffs are going to be different this year. Fan involvement from outside the arenas, from the community, is going to be like what they used to do for opening night, but now they're going to do it more in the playoffs. They're going to be more fan festivals because we can have them. There's going to be more gatherings, and at gatherings, you're going to have corporate partners who haven't been able to give their product out for a while. They get their branding out. So we're ready for it. And, all those talks that weren't happening 16 months ago are happening. So that's great.
That's
awesome.
Great. Oh man, that must be so
Yeah,
fun to look forward to.
Right. It does kind of remind me of like All-Stars, because we went to
Oh,
All-Stars
yeah.
this past year, first time ever, obviously, 'cause it's
Yeah.
in Vegas. But even then, like there were so many more like
Just fan
festivals
things,
kind of thing,
yeah.
like fan things to do that were not the game and the competition. And I didn't realize how big that was itself.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a whole weekend.
We showed up and we're
It's a
like,
whole-
oh shit,
this
this
is a
is like
whole
a
event.
thing.
Yeah, the NHL does an amazing job with making sure that the fans, the partners, everybody gets a real fun time at All-Star.
Yeah,
Oh,
no
yeah.
kidding.
We
I
had
wish I
the
would have
best
came down to
time.
that one. Looks like you guys had a good time.
We did.
Oh my God, it was so
We
fun.
did.
That's where we met Biz. Actually,
Yeah,
you
well,
didn't. I
know,
met Biz.
I didn't.
Oh my God, I was so excited.
I was so jealous.
He's like one of my favorite people ever, and I say it all the time.
Yeah.
How can he not be?
Exactly.
He's got the personality. So he's a hockey player, first off.
Right.
So that just makes him cool
Heck
no
one.
matter what. He is entertaining and engaging. And he actually really enjoys meeting people, right? Like, I mean, that's
that's
not
the
just
first thing
it's
I
not a
noticed.
stick. He loves it. And
Yeah.
he will get involved in every charity event that is possible that he can fit into his schedule. He loves giving back, and he's utilizing himself and his skill set now. He's got a skill set that not many athletes have, and that's the ability to connect at a level with the viewers and with the listeners. So I think, he is a superstar, what he does, and, proud to say that I know him.
Yeah.
I know.
That he's
That's
a good
actually,
dude.
I think that's like how you came across us, actually.
And,
Yeah.
and
Was
definitely
through
how we
Biz.
came across
Yeah,
you. I
that's
was
what-
like,
yeah.
what is this?
Oh my God, it was the funniest thing ever. And now you're on our pod.
And now you're here.
I'm the first
You're
interview.
the first.
Number one.
No,
Thank you, Biz Nasty.
It all comes
It all
back to
comes back
this.
to Biz every time.
Oh man.
That's
I'm
hilarious.
shocked he wasn't number one.
Oh my God.
Exactly.
Listen, he'll probably be like number 2 if I can make it happen.
Mm,
I think it'd be
Number
hilarious.
2.
Number 2. You'll always be number 1.
Thank you.
Top spot. Okay. So I feel like now, totally unbiased, right? From the Vegas girls. I have to know. If you were to visit Vegas, or if you've been before, or anything like that, what is your absolute must do when you're here, or a bucket list item when you come here? Like, oh, I need to do that when I come next.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So I think the top tourist attraction in Vegas is a must see for everybody, and that's Top Golf.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Top Golf is so much fun. It is
so
the
fun.
perfect way to get into Vegas. You unwind with your friends, hit a couple balls, listen to some music, get a few drinks in you, eat some food. The entertainment level there is through the roof.
It's so fun.
And then you hit the
It's
town.
so
The
good.
food is
So-
so good.
So good. Yeah, their
Yeah,
food
we
is
had our
really,
office
really
Christmas party there this past year.
Yeah.
So we were all like, oh yeah, we're going to Top Golf for a night. Everyone was so pumped.
So I'll tell you, one of my close friends, Dennis LaFontaine, is a big man on campus over there, and worldwide. They're opening up some beautiful facilities all around the world. They put on a good show, and it's a great facility, and Top Golf is top class. And so yeah, anytime I'm in Vegas, that's the number one place I want to be to begin the trip. Couple days on the strip, you got to get away for a little bit. You got to cleanse the mind and the body.
Take a break.
So I love Bootleg Canyon. Zip lining in Bootleg Canyon is something else that I've done a couple times and absolutely love it.
I
And then,
haven't done it.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that.
No.
oh, you gotta check it out.
I love asking this question. I've never heard anyone say
You
that
get a
before.
lot of weird answers for sure.
Yeah.
Nothing like that.
No, I love that. That's
Yeah,
very
no, Bootleg Canyon it's I don't know, 45 minutes, I guess, from the strip.
Yeah.
Heading towards the Hoover Dam, and it's really cool little thing to do, and it's a great adventure, and you zip line through some very high elevation, so it's scary.
Oh, that sounds perfect for me.
yeah.
When
I'm
we
the
were
kind of
there,
person that'll jump off the stratosphere. Like,
Oh yeah, no, no.
yeah,
oh,
no.
I'll do it.
There's too much cement underneath. I like it that it's a long way down to the rocks, and that little line that I'm hanging on
Yeah.
until you run out of speed, and then you're stuck.
Yeah.
my God.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Did that happen?
It happened to somebody in our group. So
Oh.
actually, it was amazing. One of the tour guides, he was like just back from being in the U.S. military, retired or whatever, young guy, and he just like jumps up, grabs the wire, and he like
No.
whips his arms and legs around, and he like shuffles himself out over the canyon. No harness. I shouldn't be saying this; they'll get them in trouble.
Yeah.
But he just goes out, and he like one arm dragged the girl back to the platform.
Oh my god. And then what? Just like sent her back across?
Oh,
Or was
and
she
then
like, I'm not
that
going
was the end of she stopped short of the platform by like maybe 50 feet. So she was
Uh-huh.
like hanging over 1,000 feet,
Oh my gosh.
whatever it was.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then she just unclipped, got on the next ride, because you just keep going down in stages down through the canyon.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was fun. It was good
Oh
times.
my gosh.
Of
that's
course,
a
it's an
fun
ex-military
story.
dude that's like, I got it, and
I
just
got it.
hangs up.
Yeah, it just climbs up. I think even had a smoke during the whole thing.
Of course he did.
Probably.
Packing darts while he's heading over 1,000.
Right?
Whatever.
Oh my gosh,
Classic.
typical.
He wasn't being shot at, so
Yeah.
a bonus.
This
Makes
is
his life
this is
easier.
nothing
Right.
compared. Oh
So yeah, I
man.
think that. And then for me, like I love the MGM or the Mirage. Going to see Cirque du Soleil and seeing Love. It's a great show for the kids, for adults, for anybody. It's a lot of fun.
Might want
I
to
think
come.
a show is important. Walking the strip, all that stuff, and then Hakkasan for a few late night drinks.
Yeah.
There you go.
Nice. That's a pretty solid, like, well-rounded.
That's a solid to-do list
Vegas
in
trip, you
Vegas.
know?
I love
Yeah.
it.
A little Wet Republic on a Saturday
Right
afternoon.
now,
There you
depends
go.
on the day.
Depends
You
on the
know.
day.
Well, Caesar's
Depends on the
Sportsbook
season.
on a good sports day.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Oh,
Well,
it's sounding like I have to get to Vegas soon.
There you
Yeah.
go. I'm
You might want to go before Mirage closes.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Is this it? It's on its final
It's,
legs.
Yeah,
it's
apparently.
happening.
Yeah.
They're putting in Hard Rock Hotel, like the big ass guitar.
Yeah.
They're
Because
putting that in.
finally getting that back. That
Yeah, listen.
we had a Hard
I'm
Rock
bitter.
hotel and then it like sold to Virgin Hotels.
Dumbest thing
And
ever.
then now it's like ruined.
It's
so then
awful now.
they bought the
I
Mirage.
used to like the Hard Rock when it was like off strip.
Yeah.
That was fun.
That
It
was
so fun.
it was like our favorite place.
It was
What
for
was that?
sure.
That was Rehab, right?
I
the-
think so.
That was the pool bar was Rehab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I believe so. If
think
memory
so.
serves, then
Right?
yes. Yeah. So yeah, they're making a new and they bought Mirage. So
Yeah, so Mirage is no
Volcano,
longer.
all of that gone. Well,
Do they
soon.
still have the Tigers?
No,
No.
No.
I was like, I know I used to go, I saw them as like a kid on like
Yeah.
a field trip.
I don't believe
It's
I
so.
have
like-
a feeling that ever since the attack, I think.
Yeah, Siegfried and Roy. I don't think
Not since
that-
the attack. I will say not since the attack, because that same tiger actually like jumped at me when I was on a field trip, and that's how they knew, because it was the same one, and I was like, well, shit.
You're like,
okay.
oh, okay.
Oh my god, it's like my mom's favorite story to tell.
Famous tiger.
That thing should have been stuffed on a wall a lot sooner then.
Oh my
Yeah,
God, right?
it's like that thing probably should have gone a
Literally.
little bit
Sorry,
sooner.
Peta.
I was in like 4th grade, and I'm just like screaming bloody murder because there's a fucking tiger right there,
Yeah.
and it was that one.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah. But even Beatles Love, I mean,
Yeah,
I'll
we
say
don't know where
this-
they're gonna move, do we?
Well, and as a Vegas kid, I have not seen Beatles Love
I haven't
yet.
seen it either.
I know. So that's one that
Well,
I'm like, I
yeah.
gotta cross that off the.
I think I've seen
My own.
everyone except Beatles.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
5 years ago, my 2 boys and my mother, we were going down to spring training in Arizona, so we stopped in Vegas.
Awesome.
And the
Fun.
boys were young, right? So they were like 10 and 11. We went to the Love show,
Nice.
And I didn't know how the boys would kind of get it because it is a little scary. Like Cirque can be a little bit scary with, characters coming out of the ceiling and stuff.
Totally.
But by the 5-minute mark, both boys were on their knees, like on the chairs, like just staring, taking. They were just into the show the whole time.
That's
Because
awesome.
every kid knows Beatles songs too, so they really loved it. And then for my mom, she was like right in that wheelhouse where she grew up on the Beatles, and all 4 of us just had a great night at it. And it was it's a great show. I've seen it 3 times. I'd go back anytime.
So great.
What a great memory. Oh my
I
gosh,
love
I love
that.
that.
I know. Oh my gosh, they did. I will say, from what I understand, Beatles Love is still going to be a show. They're just going to find a different venue,
Yeah.
but it hasn't been like decided yet.
Yeah.
So show's not technically going away.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll still
Yeah.
be here because I want to see it before it
I
does.
know. We need to get
I
on
know.
that.
Yeah. Like I said.
We say as if we didn't go out like last night.
I was gonna say, it's Sunday.
Yeah. On a
Oh my
Sunday.
gosh.
That's Vegas.
Look at us.
It's hard. There's so much to choose from, and then you also don't want to go near there. Like you'd rather go down to Fremont and just hang out at one of the Golden Nugget or something, or
Yeah.
get a steak dinner at the Golden Nugget because it's the best steak in town.
Exactly.
True. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
funny.
That is true. I'm thinking about that. I'm like,
You're
that
like,
is
wait
so
a minute.
accurate. Actually, now that I'm hearing it back, I'm like, yeah, that's actually very true.
Nothing beats the
Weird
lobster
phrase.
tails at the Golden Nugget.
Yeah.
God,
Wow.
What a city.
Thank you so much for
It
answering
was
our
a lot of
questions
fun.
and being our first guest. This was iconic.
How'd
An
we
iconic
do?
moment.
Were we a
Listen,
little more erratic than you expected?
No, I've been loving your show. It's like the podcast has been good. You like I said a little bit earlier that off camera and off microphone, you guys are bringing this energy from a new hockey town. Even though you're not just necessarily new hockey fans,
Yeah.
you're providing this really cool podcast and a sense of what it's like to be a fan in Las Vegas. And I think that's exciting for listeners. And if you're not listening, subscribe and listen to this podcast because it is fun. And the girls are fun and the questions are good. And everything you got going on for your podcast is great. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
And when you get to your 1000th podcast, there'll be a silver stick.
I can't wait. Now we have to keep this going.
As if we're not on episode 10.
Yeah, episode 10. All right. 990
Years
more to
down the
go.
road. That's hilarious.
We can do it. We can do
love
it.
Give us a couple
my gosh.
years.
For
Give us-
sure. Whatever you need. I'm not going anywhere.
Amazing.
Awesome. Seriously, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And yeah,
This
Thanks.
was awesome. I think we learned a lot too, because I
Yeah.
didn't know too much about all the milestone sticks. I knew like what I know from watching all the ceremonies.
yeah,
and stuff.
that's pretty
So,
much all I knew.
Yeah,
Which is that they happen, they exist.
Yeah.
Yeah. So learning all the history behind it and,
This was
and
really,
how
really
they're
cool.
made and all of that, like the whole process behind it, how you got into it, like seriously is just eye-opening.
yeah,
Like
it's like
it
unreal.
offers a whole new,
It's a lot of fun to be part of.
yeah.
I don't take it lightly. These are these players' lives, and the amount of work and their dreams are all coming to reality of playing in the NHL and then reaching these milestones. That we take this very seriously. That every single one of these sticks is handled with the utmost care to make sure that it's there in their hands and a cherished memento for the rest of their lives.
That's
So
amazing.
incredible. So incredible.
Yeah.
Such a great milestone and such a great
Yeah.
fresh perspective as well too, like
Mhm.
a whole new aspect to hockey that you can just appreciate.
Yeah,
So,
it really
yeah.
is. Thank you so much for coming on the pod.
Thank you so much.
It's been fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you.